Kombucha is an up-and-coming trend, making headlines. My friend Brianna and I set out to figure out what is kombucha and why is it so trendy.
So today we are headed to Sacred Springs Kombucha and I am super excited to try it. I've had kombucha once and it was from the store and I didn't necessarily care for it, so I'm excited to try and see what Sacred Springs is all about.
And I've never had kombucha before, nor have I really ever heard of it. So I'm really excited to kind of dig into this trend and maybe get hooked on it. And so I'm really excited to head over to Sacred Springs. So let's get going.
I'd say it's eye candy. Look, all the rainbows. Oh.
So once we got to Sacred Springs Kombucha, there was so much to see and look at.
Your eyes were never bored, especially right at the beginning. They had these lights that they were green, red, and blue, and there were crystals next to it, and it just reflected throughout the entire store, and it looked so cool.
It was so pretty. And then there were all these instruments you could try. There were didgeridoos.
There were drums, guitars,
singing bowls,
tuning forks.
There was everything. It was so cool. There was so much you could try.
And then we got the opportunity to sit down and chat with Jeff Lomden, the owner of Sacred Springs, and he filled us in with the inside scoop on kombucha.
Kombucha, it's this process that's around 3,000 years old, and it was for the people, by the people, kept alive, by the people. Kombucha was not this thing that you would go to the market and necessarily purchase. It's something that you would brew at home. And I worked in the health food industry for 20 some years, and I really found that kombucha was getting cornered as this drink that you would go get from the refrigerator. It would always be like really bubbly, really vinegary, and always have like all the best healthy ingredients ever put into it. It wouldn't necessarily taste the greatest, but it'd be so good for you. And I just think that that's just one way of looking at kombucha. And I think for me personally too, the process of growing and brewing my own kombucha, it gives me discipline, it gives me some purpose and stuff like that. So I think there's a healing process to brewing your own, whether it's for yourself or for your community. Sound infusion is something I realized I was doing at my house. All my kombucha was brewing in my room, where I would always be playing music or playing with my singing bowls and didgeridoo. And I started noticing that different flavor profiles would show up depending on what vibrations I use. So I'll actually put singing bowls on the shelf that the kombucha is brewing on and vibrate the whole shelf with a singing bowl. I'll use tuning forks and put it on the vessel. I'll use a couple different weird esoteric instruments, but basically it's experimenting with using vibration to help change the flavor and profiles of the liquid.
That I came in, that I went to.
Oh, that spring there is all rusty. There's a lot of claims out there, and there's a lot of debunkers out there. My own personal experience with kombucha is that I feel more vibrant when I drink it. It has the capabilities of strengthening our tissue states and helping with inflammation in the body. The specific health benefits of kombucha, I think, are going to be different for every single person who drinks it, depending on what their body's looking for. But when we look at the world of, are there health benefits of kombucha, one of the things that funds scientific studying is an industry that really wouldn't want their necessarily to be found out a bunch of scientific evidence about health benefits of kombucha because it's such a readily available thing that everyone can do at home themselves. We believe that we make a great kombucha, and even if you're growing it yourself at home, you're probably still going to end up in here at some point. But if I drive myself out of business because everyone's brewing kombucha, I'm not going to fight with that.
So we just left Sacred Springs Kombucha.
And now we are headed to Christina Treelofts, a local home brewer, to find out how kombucha is made.
I've been brewing kombucha for 7 years or so. I had a friend and she was brewing kombucha, and I was into natural things like she was. So she was like, here's a SCOBY, it's for brewing kombucha. And at first I was weirded out because she gave me this tiny slimy pancake in a mason jar, and I took it home, and I'm pretty sure I started looking into kombucha and making it right away because I think it would just freak me out more if I just let it sit there. So when I make kombucha, since I do such a big batch, I usually use a big stock pot right here. I fill this with water, and then I warm it on the stove. It doesn't need to be boiling. Just high enough that the tea bags will steep. And I put, I use black tea. I buy the black tea in bulk, and then when I take it home, I put it in groups of 8 because you need 8 tea bags per gallon, and this pot will hold 2 gallons. So I put 2 of these in the warm or hot water and 2 cups of sugar. And I just I stir it all up, make sure the sugar's dissolved, and let the tea steep while the water cools down, and then I pour this sweet tea mixture into my jars that I already have prepared with 1 SCOBY each and 2 cups of kombucha starter, or often I'll use 2 cups of white vinegar because we usually go through all of the kombucha within 2 weeks. Your SCOBY and your kombucha needs to breathe while it ferments so that it needs some airflow. If you cover it up, then it's not going to ferment properly. So that's why there's coffee filters on there, or these cloths. You can have a lot of SCOBYs in a container like I do here. They just have to be submersed in kombucha or white vinegar. So inside here, there's 1 SCOBY in each jar, and if there's more, that means they've had a baby. It's changed my life in that I don't have to drink water because we only have water or milk in this house. It's nice to drink water or kombucha and know that it's good for me and not something that's full of artificial flavors and sugar.
Both Christina and Jeff made kombucha sound super easy to make, so I wanted to put it to the test, see if it really was that simple. So I made my kombucha about a week ago, and so right now I am ready to try it, see how it tastes, and see if I'm ready for a second fermentation. So I've had this fermenting for about a week now, and I'm ready to try it out. So right now I am flavoring for the second fermentation, so I decided to put raspberries and ginger in it. I've tried it before and I really liked it at Sacred Springs, so I wanted to try it. One thing that's difficult about this is that you can't use anything metal. The SCOBY can't touch metal at all, so any little bit of SCOBY you have will taste like metal if you use it. So I have to use a plastic spoon, which is not ideal by any means, but I wonder if I'll just do this. This sounds like it's going to be a bad idea. Now you can't have this be full like this. You need there to be some air in it for the sugar to be able to carbonate the drink. And now we wait.